Alright, so I originally recorded this video like half a year ago when I was visiting some family in Vermont, but I messed up the audio, and so we're doing this again half a year later. This is going to be a like 1.5 year ownership update of my Mark 5 Jetta. Going to be going over kind of some of the ownership things you can expect from one of these, what I've done to it, repairs I've had to do, sort of things like that. So I guess I'll start out when I got the car. I did make a video on this, but I had some issues. It needed the purge valve replaced, had an evap code, needed some other things. It desperately needed an oil change, and it also needs some rocker repair. I just used some fiberglass Bondo, painted over it. Obviously it's not perfect. I've used some PR15 since then. Oh, it also needed tires, so I bought some brand new tires for it. Not the wheels, those wheels came on it, but yeah, so you know, some pretty basic stuff. I paid $1,700 for it. Probably it put after I had made it completely perfect, roadworthy, probably about $2,000. So good deal, I would say. That was in early 2023 when the car market was different from what it is now, but it's still decent deal. Car has 210,000 miles on it, right around there, and basically the only repairs I've had to do to it since I got the car to make it, you know, road legal, and to keep it on the road, I did the purge valve. That was like 20 bucks. And I had to do the rockers to make it legal in New Hampshire. That was like, I don't know. I mean, we already had the supplies, but that's probably like 40 bucks worth of things. And then I still have a bunch left over. All right, so I guess we'll talk repairs before I go into like cosmetic mods and stuff. So the things I've had to do to it to keep it road legal have been the alternator. That was the biggest thing that happened literally before, like a couple days before I started classes last year. The alternator went bad, got a battery light. One day it was fine, next day it wasn't. Oh well. I bought a new alternator on carparts.com for like 180 bucks. Got the core refunded, ended up being like 110 bucks total. Not a fun job to do, by the way, because the Volkswagen way that they want you to do it is to put the car in a service position, which means taking off the front bumper cover and basically everything on the front of the car. Front radiator support, like everything, just so that the alternator, because the alternator sits right about there, take all this off, and then you can get to the alternator. Dumbest thing ever. For some reason, kind of the mainstream way to do it, like Deutsche Auto Parts, focus. Deutsche Auto Parts has a video on it where they remove an engine mount and pry the engine back for some reason. But the real best way to do the alternator is to drop the AC compressor, struggle with everything else, but that's easier. You don't risk damaging anything. Just make sure that you support the AC compressor when you drop it. Anyways, so that was the major repair that I had to do. Other than that, I've done little things here and there. I did a brake job. You can see new caliper. Lighting isn't great. Yeah, new caliper. One caliper on this side, rotors on both sides. This caliper was seized, that's why I replaced it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered replacing it. Of course, and so that's basically it for like things that I've absolutely had to do to keep the car on the road. Of course, I've done preventative maintenance things. I do oil changes every like 6,000 miles. I try to do them less, but you know, it's got 210,000 miles. I don't really care too much. And I did the transmission oil on it, or the transmission gear oil. I used like OEM Bilstein oil, and I broke the reverse light sensor off doing that job. So if you're thinking of doing that on your car, just keep that in mind. I would buy a reverse light sensor because you have to remove the reverse light sensor to fill it at the top. If you don't do that, you're going to underfill your transmission. So do that. And I've done CV axles on it, although that was really just out of the fact that I got a good deal at Rock Auto. I didn't actually need to do the CV axles, but brand new CV axles. They were the original axles as well, so they would have failed at some point. I've done 2 rear wheel bearings. Funny story with that. So this was the first one I did on this side. It was causing an ABS and traction control light. And this was my first kind of major repair that I ever did. This was like a couple months after I got the car. Wasn't really too familiar with working on cars, but as you can see from that center cap being gone, I did not pound the center cap back in correctly. It came off and then kicked off this cap for the wheel, the Motegi logo. And so if you're going to do one of these wheel bearings, just be very careful with how you put those back in. When I did the other side, I'll show you that. When I did the other side, I was more careful. So you can see this side, the cap is still on it. What I did for this side was I kind of squeezed it back in with pliers and made these tabs that when I pounded it in with the hammer, with the mallet, it correctly seated. So just, if you're going to do these rear wheel bearings, be careful. The other thing about these wheel bearings is that they want you to torque it to 180 foot-pounds, and then you do, or no, 149 foot-pounds, and you do a 180. You cannot do a 180. It is literally impossible. I literally had like probably 10 feet of pipe trying to get the 180 to work. And so yeah, you'll be basically completely unable to get that 180 on the wheel bearings. Same thing with the front wheel bearings. I thankfully haven't had to do those yet. But yeah, so now here's the most important part. What lights do I have on the dash? I have on light out, the light malfunction, bulb malfunction, whatever light, because I have all LEDs. I'll show you those in a second. And I have, that's it. That's actually it right now. I used to have, oh no, I occasionally would get traction and ABS just because I think one of the front wheel bearings is has the bad ABS ring, but I don't have that right now. It's just the light out bulb. Brings us on to the cosmetic mods I've done to this. So you can see the front end of this car looks nothing like Mark 5 Jettas come from the factory, right? And that's because, let me adjust this real quick. And that's because I have done a bunch of stuff to it. So first and foremost, first thing I did, this grill. So this is actually a GLI GTI grill, cheapo one from Amazon. I think I made a video on this, I don't really remember. It's a 3D printed, custom made logo. Has a light inside of it, you can see the LED. Man, it's windy out today. And then I also have this cheapo German grill badge. I don't know. I had a lot of disposable income and not a lot of expenses when I put that on, so, you know, that was kind of stupid. The next item that I did was I did these GTI GLI fog light grill covers. So these fog lights did come with the car. They're obviously not OEM to these Jettas, but the fog lights came with the car, and they had some horrible fog light covers on them, so I put these on. They look pretty good. All right, hopefully the wind's died down a little bit. And the last thing I did was these headlights. These are like cheapo eBay special headlights. Funny story, so my dad has a Mark 5 Rabbit, which is this car but a hatchback two-door, and he bought these headlights for his car. The issue that he had is that the left headlight, oh my god, the wind! Okay, now that the wind has died down a little bit today, I think it's about to rain, so my father got these Mark 5 headlights for his Mark 5 Rabbit, and the issue that he had is that this particular headlight, you can still sort of see some condensation on the inside. Right, see this little streak? That's some condensation. Basically, after it would rain, or after it'd be a humid day, it would condensate on the inside of this housing. So we contacted the seller, got another pair, and they let him keep these. They told him to throw them out. He didn't. He gave them to me, and by the way, his new set of housings also condensate. So it's just an issue with the mold. But he got his money back for those as well. So anyways, they look pretty awesome, and very occasionally they will fog up. They will start to condensate. I haven't had many issues with them. They just look amazing. They have the OEM like chrome reflectors inside of them. I know there's so much glare, but so they're not smoked. They just have black backings to them. The turn signals are still as bright as they are. The headlights are still as bright as they are. If you're looking for some aftermarket headlights for these things and you don't want the horrible white ones, these are spectacular. They take OEM bulbs. You don't have to worry about like Xeon headlights like you do with the GTIs. It's essentially one of the best aftermarket solution for these cars. Moving on from that, I already kind of talked about these. These are Motegi MR117 wheels, and they look pretty nice on this car. They're a little too black. I do have some, I guess second gen is what you call it, second gen Tiguan wheels with gigantic snow tires. They're 16s, but their tires are 275, so we'll see if they fit. Either that or I'm going to lift the Jetta, because I want the snow tires. I'm not paying more money. I used to have a set of Mark 6 GTI wheels with junk tires on them that I rode around on for a while, but these tires I got, these were 89 bucks a piece. They've been pretty awesome. I put 20,000 miles on them, I believe, and they still have, basically I measured them with my micrometers. They basically still have all the tread that they did when they were new. Moving on to tint, this car came with 35% tint all around, if you can believe that. including the windshield. Here in New Hampshire, 35 is the state legal limit. Here comes the wind again. 35 is the state legal limit here in New Hampshire, so I had to remove it off all the front windows. I kept it on the back. That was fine for a year. Then the same shop that I went to failed me for the tint. Exactly the same tools that they use, they just decided to fail me last year. So I don't go to that shop anymore. I went to one of my friend's shops. So we're going to do the same thing this year. Just, go to a friend's shop, get the special deal, But so I currently have, this is technically 40% tint. It dries as like 30. Or no, this is 50. So anyways, right now I currently have 50% tint. It dries at around like 40%. 35 to 40% is what it dries at. It's a sunny day out. Obviously it's autumn, so it's not as sunny, but you can sort of see through it. This was a self-done tint job. I mean, it's awesome. Like for how cheap this was, this is pretty awesome. These were pre-cut tint pieces from a site. They weren't too expensive. The front windows, I'm running 20% on. You really can't see through. So that's like 20%, and that's 35. I guess you can't really tell the difference on camera, but this is much darker than that. So the front windows, 20% tint. This was a self-tint job. Again, you can kind of see some of the issues with doing tint jobs yourself. Come on. Or not, but there's some issues with this tint. Overall, it does give the car a pretty good look. Like if you stand back, 10 feet, it does give the car an excellent look with the tint. I'm so glad that I have it. And I think my plan is I'm just going to rip this off. If you're worried about getting pulled over with tint, just do, here's my tips. I also have the license plate up front there. Here's a couple of tips. If you're going to do illegal stuff to your car, I have a straight pipe with a resonator, license plate up front, 20% tint. If you're going to do stupid things to your car, make sure that you drive excellent. Don't speed like crazy, and also don't look like you're doing anything wrong. If you pass by a cop, don't stare at them. Don't go the exact speed limit. Don't stop completely at stop signs. Just stuff like that. Don't pretend that you're doing anything wrong, because you're not. You're just a regular person with 20% tint. If you get pulled over, roll your windows down all the way, because the only reason why you have tint laws is for officer safety. So if you want to have dark tint and you want to keep it, be nice to the officer. Roll your windows down for their safety. All that sort of stuff. Also one more thing. New Hampshire is not very good with their policing. I've had 20% tint played on, and I've had a third brake light out since July. It's currently October, end of October, and I've had staties follow me. They don't care, Anyways, it depends on your state, but on these cars especially, having the tint looks really good. Yeah, so I guess that's done with the exterior and the mechanics. I'll just show you the interior real quick. It's going to be a mess because this is my commuter car. Yeah, so this is my interior. Like I said, it's the 5-speed manual. And I don't usually drink bottled water, so don't kill me for doing that. I just lost my water bottle. Yeah, this is my interior. Vinyl. The vinyl leather, not the real leather. I've been looking for some GLI, GTI seats for this for a while. Haven't had much luck. Let's see. We have a OEM Mark 6 GTI stereo radio head unit. This car does have heat. Yeah, Mark 6 GTI head unit. This is very easy to do if you guys are thinking of doing this. Basically, you buy the radio, and then you can buy a separate eBay service for like $9. You message the eBay seller your serial number, and they'll give you the activation code, because these OEM head units need an activation code. It fits in here excellent. Yeah, so 5-speed manual transmission, pretty solid transmission we have here. The only issues that I have with this one is that when it's like 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit out, third gear and fourth gear and will grind. Reverse grinds kind of regardless if I'm moving. So, just as a general thing, if you want to preserve the life of your transmission, short shift. And also make sure if you can rev match, you should rev match. That's just kind of because the transmissions wear out just from shifting at first gear to second gear at 5,000 or 4,000. That's how these wear out over time. Again, this car has 210,000 miles on it. For the e-brake, I will mention my father's had issues with his e-brake before, where the lines rust. Thankfully, mine still works perfectly. Yeah, that's basically about it. I have a steering wheel cover on here, and then basically I like keeping the car stock. This does have the sunroof. This does have heated seats. The rear seats are decent, you know, not beat up. So anyways, if you guys have any comments about the Mark V platform, like I said, I've had this car for a while. I've done tons of work on it. My father has had 2 Mark Vs, so I have a lot of experience with these. If you have any questions, do ask them. Without that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.